Hello students, today we are going to cover an important chapter of class 8 geography, which is chapter 3 agriculture. Now before starting the chapter, let me introduce myself a little bit. So I am Raghav Daksh, currently pursuing history honors from University of Delhi College of Vocational Studies. Let's start our chapter with the first subheading, which is meaning and origin of agriculture. So the word agriculture comes from a Latin word, which is ager or agri, and these both words means soil and culture, means cultivation, cultivating on the soil, doing growing crops. And so agriculture means cultivating the soil to grow crops and rear livestock. Now livestock are such as cows and chickens, raising these animals, and agriculture is a primary activity which is called farming. It involves growing crops, fruits, vegetables, and flowers. So a farmer does all these things. He, rear the animals like cows and chicken and grows different types of crops, fruits, and vegetables. Now, economic activity is related to agriculture. When wheat is grown by a farmer, it is sold in a mandi, or we can say in a market, taken to factories and transformed into bread or biscuits. This process involves three types of economic activities. So the farming as a whole, the agriculture as a whole is a economic process. It involves three different sectors and people are involved in the process. So an example is given here, such as how a wheat is transformed into a bread or biscuit and reaches to consumers like us. So the first activity that is there is primary activities, which means extraction and production of natural resources like farming and fishing. So this is, as the name suggests, this is the initial phase where the extraction is being done and production of natural resources or growing up of different crops takes place. So growing up of wheat is the primary activity or farming. Now, the secondary activity involves processing raw materials such as making flour from wheat. So, when the wheat is being transferred to the industries, it converts into flour. So, this process is called secondary activity, where the raw material is wheat and that it is being transformed into a flour. So, this is secondary activity. And the third one is tertiary activities, services that support the first two sectors like transport, trade, and banking. So this sector involves transportation of raw materials and trading and then banking, all the money matters involved. Now, the importance of agriculture. About 50% of people in the world work in agriculture. In India, about two-thirds of the population depends on it for their livelihood. So, about 50% of the people in the world work in an agriculture, sector. They grow crops. They work as a farmer. In India, about two-thirds of the population depends on it for their livelihood because we need food to live, to survive. Suitable soil and climate are essential for agricultural activity. Land where crops are grown is called arable land. So the land where farmers can grow crops is called arable land, and suitable soil and certain types of climatic conditions are needed to be there. Types and specializations in agriculture. There are many types of farming and related industries. First one is sericulture. Now, sericulture is this where the commercial rearing of silkworms to make silk. So, silkworms are there to make silk. Now, the second one is pisciculture. Now, pisciculture is breeding fish in tanks or ponds like this. So, these are the fishes. Third one is viticulture, where cultivation of grapes usually for making wine. So this is how it's done. And the fourth one is horticulture, where growing vegetables, fruits, or flowers for commercial use. So this is the horticulture where vegetables or fruits, common type of vegetables and fruits are grown. Now, the farm system. Farming works like a system with inputs, processes, and outputs. So basically, let's see with an example how the inputs takes place. Where the seeds, fertilizers, machines, sunlight, rainfall, labor, chemicals. So these all are the inputs that are there to grow certain crops. Seeds are needed, fertilizers are needed, machines, or sunlight, rainfall, labor, chemicals. So these are the initial inputs that we need to grow crops. Now the processes, activities like plowing, sowing seeds, irrigating, spraying, etc. These are the processes that are involved in the process of growing crops. Now then at last the outputs are there where final products like crops, milk, wool and meat are there which we are getting. Organic farming avoids chemical fertilizers and pesticides. It only uses natural manure and does not use genetically modified seeds. So organic farming is basically, as the name suggests, it is the organic in it is organic in nature. No chemicals are being used. It is done like this, where the fertilizers and pesticides are avoided, and it only uses natural manure. Now, types of farming. The first one is subsistence farming. Now, this is the farming where farms mostly provide for the farmer's family. Little is left for the sale. So, this type of farming is done to provide for own family, not for the sale. It usually involves small plots of land and low technology are used. Has two forms: intensive subsistence farming. So, intensive subsistence farming involves simple tools but needs a lot of labor. It is very common in Asia and densely populated areas, and rice is the main crop, but wheat, maize, pulses, and oilseeds are also grown. Now, another type of subsistence farming is primitive subsistence farming, where the shifting cultivation takes place. Farmers clears the forest, burns the wood, and grow crops like maize, yam, or potatoes. After a while, the soil loses fertility and they move to a new plot, also called slash and burn, practiced in Amazon, Africa, Southeast Asia, and Northeast India. So basically, in this type of cultivation, the farmer grows some crop, and then after losing its fertility, they move to a new plot and they burn that plot. Now, the second type is nomadic herding, where herdsmen move around looking for grass and water for their animals. Animals like sheep, camel, yak, and goats are reared, common in Sahara, Central Asia, Rajasthan, and Jammu and Kashmir. So, nomadic herding is where the animals like sheep, camel, yak, and goats are involved, and farmer rears them. It is common in Sahara, Central Asia, Rajasthan, and Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the commercial farming is there. Commercial farming is the farming which is done for selling products in the market. Now, we are talking about the bigger process where the investment of high capital and large farms and machines are involved. Now, types include commercial grain farming, such as big farms mostly growing wheat, maize in North America, Europe, and Asia for the large population. Mixing farming, where the land is used for both crops and livestock. It is common in Europe, Eastern USA, and Australia and South Africa. Plantation farming, where the large farms grow single crops like tea, coffee, sugarcane, or cotton, needs a lot of workers, money, and often processes produce on a farm or nearby factories. Transport is the key. Major plantations are found in tropical regions. So basically, commercial farming is a very large process where the farming is being done for the commercial purposes, for the huge market, and for the large population, of course. So, mixing farming, commercial grain farming, plantation farming, these are the types of commercial farming. Yeah, let's keep this part till here, and we'll talk about major crops and the requirements, agricultural development, case studies from India and USA in the next part. So till then, keep revising. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comment section. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it. We'll meet in the next video soon. Till then, take care and bye bye.